This is Gaming Imperatrix. I am playing Infinity Pack in Expert Mode, and I just wanted to show you how you can use ProjectRed together to help automate Botania, to provide a little bit of constant mana, working at a bit of a surplus to power one of the functional flora like the Gyulia. Gyulia is a lovely flower that helps keep creepers and other monsters at bay, but it needs a constant supply of mana. Now, assuming that you don't want to be responsible for managing your mana pool and making sure you've tracked in enough coal or enough experience or enough lava or whatever it is you need a way of bringing in a consistent amount of mana. And because fire runes are kind of hard to get in expert mode, you need like 9 blaze rods, and maybe you don't feel confident enough to go in the nether, you're playing on hardcore, you're doing something stupid. You may need a setup that you can't really rely on exoflames or anything particularly interesting yet. And you cannot get warp lenses maybe particularly easy. You can combine bore and warp lenses particularly easy. So you're just in a situation where you need a very, very, very basic setup to just get a little bit of mana. So what I got right here is a hovering hourglass. It's basically a coal. This is a iron, mana, redstone, gold setup that I got going on here. You're not going to need anything much more complicated than that. I've got a hovering hourglass here that every 8 seconds is going to say, hey, yo, I'm going to send a signal out. If there is a log here, this repeater will be able to send the signal through the log. Repeaters are actually really good about that. They're good at sending like button signals through walls and stuff too. So this repeater will be able to send a signal through a log, but it's not going to be able to send a signal through a sapling. So as soon as a log exists, that pulse will go through. That pulse will travel all the way up to the pulse mana spreader, which is going to be able to send to that mana pool up there. I know that mana spreader up there is hard to see, but hopefully with this view you can see the bore lens. The mana spreader up there with the bore lens is going to take whatever mana is sent to it, and it's going to shoot it down, and it's going to try and drill through that tree. Now, it might not make it through the tree the first time, but I don't want to be sending 1,000 pulses up to it until we've determined whether or not it's been drilled through or not, because I don't want to dig a hole through to the center of the earth. So that's why this hourglass is set to 8 seconds. So it's enough time for the mana pulse to hit that pool, for the bore lens to send a pulse down, and for us to assess whether there is still a log present to see whether we need to send out another pulse. Now, we don't want to dig down to the middle of the earth. Anybody who's played with Botania before knows that usually you use force relays to get around the problem that the bore lenses will just, keep shooting down forever and ever and ever and ever and ever. Oops, I broke something. So for this much simpler, cheaper expert mode setup, we're going to have to go underground and see what the situation is down here. I'm going to probably want to dig around here so we can get to the other side. Be patient with me while I dig. Don't hate me. It's complicated. So right here we got this mana pool that the bore lens is going to stop at. It's going to catch all of the mana that makes it down here from the bore lens. This mana is going to power our hopper hawk. And our hopper hawk is going to catch the dirt, if the dirt is destroyed by the bore lens, and it's going to catch all the logs that are destroyed, and it's going to catch the saplings that fall, according to these 3 frames. The saplings are going to go from this item importer, ProjectRed. It's going to go from this item importer up through these pressure tubes to this block placer, and the dirt is going to go into this block placer. Now, ProjectRed block placers can place up to 2 blocks on top of them. So this guy could technically place into the space where the mana pool is currently occupying, but it can also place into the space above it. So if I delete this, yes, it immediately attempts to put a dirt block up there, and then the hopper hawk grabs the dirt as it was floating around there and recycles the dirt in an infinity amount of times. This block placer up here is the one responsible for placing the sapling. So we've got one for placing the dirt, one for placing the sapling, and we have a hovering hourglass going off every 1 second who is basically like, try to place the dirt, try to place the sapling. Lastly, we got the logs who are going through this channel. They're the most important part. They're going to get to our endo flames. We don't have enough, we don't have fire runes, so getting an exoflame is hard, so we can't really power this furnace with an exoflame. But one thing that we can do, did I break something? I feel like I put something here. Yes, I put dirt there. I'm a terrible person. So this, I'm going to hollow out here so I can walk around it more easily. There we go, there we go, there we go. So the first piece of charcoal that it creates is going to loop back into the machine. If I put it right here, it's going to loop back into the machine to replace that one that goes missing. And the remainder of the charcoal is going to go on this way. You can see it's hooked up by this redstone pulse is necessary in order to keep all of the item importers and block placers working. Where did it come in, and how do I get out? Oh, it's up there. That was a terrible place to put it. Never come in immediately above these tubes because you can't jump a full block. You gotta go a different direction. Like here's a good way to break out. Let's go up here. Okay. So over here we have another item importer, and this item importer is at the end of a pressure tube, and it is popping the charcoal up into the air. It's basically, if you look at my ProjectRed tutorials, it's basically just our spitting machine, moving from the end of the furnace to this witch. She can't get very close because of the Gyulia, but still freaking close enough to be annoying. Damn you for ruining my tutorial, you jerk! Well, you can tell this is on a survival server now, can't you? Do I have anything I can eat around here? Yeah, I do. Because I live on a giant farm! Yes. Give me num-nums. I gotta recover my health so I can go. That is why I own a Gyulia. Here's an incentive. So that when you are writing your own tutorials and showing them to people, your Gyulia will keep your setup from being destroyed on a survival server. That is all the incentive you should ever need to make this build. So anyway, you can see that the charcoal's popping up there to the endo flame, and I'm currently running at a net gain in my mana pool, and that is what is powering the Gyulia nonstop. So I don't have to worry about maintaining my mana. I got plenty of mana to keep this system going. So let's see it in action. We got the hourglass. The signal made it through. The mana spreader shot up to the pool. It's drilling down. In a second, it's going to be like, hey, there's still a log here. Gonna send another pulse. Destroys the dirt. Dirt gets replaced. Sapling gets replaced. And, of course, all of that wood is going to make it over to the endo flames. And, of course, this is a simple way where, like, if I had lots of birch trees around me, this is birch wood, I could literally just chop down a bunch of birch trees and then throw them in the area around the Hopperhawk. And the Hopperhawk should have enough mana to be able to gather them all up. Now, let's say that the Hopperhawk ran out of mana. I'm seeing logs everywhere, and it's not picking it up. I have this little switch over here that I can just toggle on and off to send extra mana up to the bore lens. Yes, it will lose a little bit of mana destroying the sapling and the block, but the rest of it will get into the mana pool, and the Hopperhawk will be able to work again. So you can jumpstart it like that. Yay! And that has been my tutorial. I'm going to go kill that witch. It's a very simple ProjectRed and Botania feeding endo flame. Very pretty dang early game Botania Tree Farm.